Top 10 reasons why English royals are the worst political leaders conceivable. English royals have the most notorious reputation for ruthlessness and mass murder. In fact, at a conservative estimate, the British Empire has killed over 100 million people during its existence, most of which are of African ancestry. The British royals have instituted genocide in Tasmania, in Canada, in Jamaica, and even in Kenya. They have stolen great treasures like the Star of Africa, and they have always denied us a basic apology for hundreds of years of slavery. So, without further ado, here are the top 10 reasons why English royals are the worst political leaders conceivable. Number 1. They engage in incest and inbreeding, and this has affected their genetic diversity. It is an open secret that the British royal family engages in incestuous relationships, and has done so for centuries. Any genetics expert can tell you that inbreeding should not be practiced, because it significantly increases the probability of deformities appearing in the offspring. What many people fail to appreciate is that after centuries of practicing inbreeding, the members of the British royal family have a very small gene pool, and very limited genetic diversity. This has diminished their ability to operate on the cognitive standards that most of us operate on, and to that ends, they have become genetically inferior to the general population. This probably explains why many royals over the century have been diagnosed as being mentally unstable. From King George V, who experienced psychosis to the point of not being able to perform his royal duties, to Catherine and Nerissa Bowes-Lyon, who were both sent to the same mental asylum on the same day. The royal family has a long list of mentally unstable characters, which would need a whole other video to go through. It is a topic that you can research on your own time. A family that practices inbreeding is unfit to serve in the position of head of state of Jamaica. Additionally, it has been observed that the British royal family does not believe in marrying for love, and that marriage is simply a tool for establishing political alliances with other elite families. Their immorality and heartlessness was surfaced during an interview when the current King of England exposed how unfamiliar he was towards the concept of love.
Suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
Even his son, Prince William, refused to wear a ring after his marriage, which makes us question whether he is even emotionally committed to the relationship, or if it was simply an arranged marriage, which united the Goldsmith bloodline with the Windsor bloodline.
Do we really want leaders who marry for opportunity, and who seems unfamiliar with the concept of love? Now you understand why they have no problem marrying their relatives. It's because they seemingly lack the emotional motivation that guides normal people into intimate relationships. The psychological implications of neglecting love, in the service of power, has produced some of the most ruthless leaders in all of human history, and the royals are no different.
A leader who has absolutely no love for the people of the world, or is unable to facilitate the emotion called love, is unfit to govern the affairs of a nation in the 21st century. Number 2. They condone pedophilia. The royal family of England has been accused of condoning pedophilia on multiple occasions. In fact, this behavior stretches across multiple generations, from Lord Louis Mountbatten, the uncle to Queen Elizabeth II, to Prince Andrew, her very own son. The current king, whose brother is a known pedophile, is even accused of protecting his friend, Peter Ball, from prosecution for pedophilia. What I'm trying to emphasize is the royal family's tolerance of the practice, and their lack of condemnation of those family members accused of pedophilia. A perfect example would be how Prince Andrew is being protected from prosecution in the United States, for charges related to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and his sexual encounter with an underage Virginia Giuffre. It is important to note that the royal family has connections to many pedophiles other than Jeffrey Epstein. From Jimmy Savile to Cyril Smith, the royal family seems to be comfortable befriending pedophiles, and that should trouble any decent law-abiding individual, and not just parents. We, the people of Jamaica, condemn the exploitation of children, like that which was documented to happen at the Concora Boys' Home in Ireland. Believe it or not, the Concora Boys' Home scandal actually implicated Lord Louis Mountbatten, and others close to the British royal family. Pedophilia has been, and still is, one of the most despicable crimes ever committed in all of human history. Number 3. They are unelected. As with all royals, the British monarch is never elected. Therefore, the people of England and the Commonwealth never get the democratic freedom to elect their head of state, and is deprived of a political voice. In the 21st century, where America and England invaded Iraq in order to install a democracy, it's unthinkable that England should be allowed to have a hereditary monarch, who is unelected, and is unaccountable to the people. There is no place on earth more urgently needing of a democracy than in England, because the population is very politically conscious, and well aware of their rights as citizens in the 21st century. If you think that I'm exaggerating, then remember that to this day, England doesn't have a constitution. This is because its citizens should not be made aware of the fact that they have feudal rights, and are subjects to an unelected family that recycles power from one generation to another. Jamaicans refuse to identify as subjects of a monarch, and we will not depart with our inalienable rights in order to facilitate a king. Number 4. Their racism and their antiquated worldview. The conduct of the royal family today implies that they still hold racist views about racial minorities, most notably against black people. The Meghan Markle saga is a perfect example of how the British royal family has managed to maintain their racist views, in spite of prevailing ideas that race has more social than biological implications. It's no secret that the British royal family has a long history of racism, and even engaged in the practice of slavery for hundreds of years. Since the royal family refuses to apologize for slavery, and refuses to pay reparations to the descendants of the enslaved, when they had no problem paying the descendants of the slave masters up until 2015, it is fair to conclude that their immorality towards dark-skinned people haven't changed. The British royal family is completely out of touch with the political needs of the 21st century, and think that they are somewhat entitled to reign over other human beings, because of their ill-gotten royal legacy that descends from a long line of racist, homicidal tyrants, who considered themselves to be superior to the average person. This old-fashioned or antiquated worldview is unbecoming of anyone seeking to represent a nation politically, in this globalized and technical era of human history. The unsubstantiated idea that Prince William should inherit King Charles's position, without the people having a say as to who should be England's head of state, is indicative of the royal family's old-fashioned understanding of the modern political needs of the people of Britain and the wider Commonwealth. Number 5. They are Nazi sympathizers. As unbelievable as it sounds, there is plenty of evidence to substantiate the claim that the British royal family have facilitated Nazi sympathy for multiple generations. Historians tend to gloss over the fact that although England and Nazi Germany were at war, the British held similar racist worldviews that the Nazis embraced. In fact, according to a BBC program called Racism, A History, the British Prime Minister during World War II, Winston Churchill, was a quote-unquote, convinced eugenicist.
And he named his new science eugenics. In the last decades of the 19th century, it became widely respected, attracting an array of high-profile supporters.
They included many of the great figures of the late 19th, early 20th century, people like George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells, Winston Churchill, all of them absolutely convinced eugenicists.
So, racism and even genocide was not unique to Nazi Germany. In fact, all the major Western European powers committed some form of genocide during the age of colonization. The Holocaust was simply the last of the major genocides committed by Western European countries, and Germany's negative reputation stems from the fact that they made the mistake of committing their atrocities on the European continent. What I'm trying to do is to bridge the gap between your current view of the common characteristics between England and Germany, and the view that I'm about to present. Because let's face it, it's hard to accept the fact that the British are actual Nazi sympathizers. King Edward VIII of England abdicated the throne, married an American actress, and visited Hitler in Germany. For this despicable act of treason, he was given governorship over the Bahamas after World War II ended. He seemingly imported Nazi sympathy to England, as the future monarch Queen Elizabeth II is seen in this photo being taught the Nazi salute by her uncle, Edward VIII. The association to Nazism carried on, as that same Queen Elizabeth would grow up to marry Prince Philip of the House of Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Glucksburg, who had strong German ancestry, and had 3 sisters who married high-ranking Nazi officials. Here is his sister Sophie, with her husband, Nazi Oberfuhrer Christoph von Hesse, one of Hermann Göring's confidant. So, it is a historical fact that Queen Elizabeth's sisters-in-law were Nazis. The Nazi-embracing tradition did not end there, as Prince Harry would spearhead the next generation into embracing Nazi sympathy, as he openly wore a Nazi outfit to an upscale dress party in 2005. In a Daily Mail article dated January 23, 2023, Harry claimed that Prince William and Kate had encouraged him to wear the controversial Nazi outfit, which implies that the royal family does not find Hitler's legacy to be alarming and immoral. In fact, Prince William and Kate got married on the 29th of April, 2011, which is the 66th anniversary of Hitler's marriage to Eva Braun. Taking into consideration the multiple Nazi connections, it's hard to write this off as a coincidence, as opposed to it being evidence of the family's continued admiration for Adolf Hitler. Many people might be doubtful as to whether or not the British royal family truly embraces Nazi philosophy. However, their conduct and attitudes towards racial minorities might reveal the truth. In the case of Jamaica, a former colony of the British Empire, the royal family still deny the descendants of the enslaved a basic apology for slavery, much less to even consider reparations, or repatriation back to Africa for those who desire to be returned to their ancestral land. They unjustly deport the people of the Windrush generation who rebuilt England after World War II. They exited Brexit because of their opposition to the EU facilitating immigrants, and their museums are stuffed with stolen African art that they refuse to return. Prince Philip, who is infamous for his racism, was once quoted as saying, "If I die, I hope to be reincarnated as a deadly virus, in order to solve the issue of overpopulation." This is the statement of a racist royal family member, who wants to decrease the human population. So, what do you think? Is that enough evidence to convince you that they embrace Nazi philosophy? Well, it should be. It comes at no surprise that the British royal family would admire the government with the worst reputation in history, since this video seeks to prove that the British royals are the worst political leaders conceivable. Number 6. They target those who criticize them. Since it has already been proven that the British royal family is illegitimate by modern democratic standards, and their lifestyle is parasitic, it should come at no surprise that they've only been able to maintain their position by targeting those who expose how they contribute nothing to society. From William Wallace of Scotland, to Michael X of Trinidad, to Charlie Veitch of the Love Police, anyone who questions the practicality and usefulness of the British royal family becomes a target. It is understandable that a parasitic elite family would be firmly against freedom of speech, and granting independence to oppressed groups of people like the Jamaicans. The fact that they need to target persons who criticize them, is more than enough evidence that their power is illegitimate, and not granted by the goodwill of the people. It is understandable that the British people have a moral right to dispense with the services of the British royal family, and that at any given time, they can have those royals removed from their positions, in the interest of advancing Britain to a complete democracy. Number 7. They are against meritocracy. Meritocracy is the idea that a particular position should go to the most capable persons available, and this is the main reason why people pursue academic credentials and work experience. The idea that the position of head of state of Great Britain and the Commonwealth should go to a king, because he's the son of Queen Elizabeth, and not because he's the best man for the job, is no different from expecting the son of a surgeon to perform surgery, simply because he's descended from a surgeon. However ridiculous that logic might sound, it is the rationale for why royals are allowed to inherit a political position on the basis of ancestry. Why should anyone pursue the necessary qualifications for a particular profession, if the most influential profession in the country is hereditary? Why should a lawyer be trained, and be required to earn his profession if the royal family simply inherits theirs? This entitlement mentality of the British royal family discourages hard work, ambition, and the commitment to contribute back to society, because the double standard for success seems unfair. Aren't there brilliant, patriotic, ambitious, benevolent, and capable individuals in Britain who could serve as head of state instead of those entitled royals? Number 8. They hinder the progress of the entire human race. The British royal family preserves outdated institutions and customs that clash with the sophisticated demands of 21st century society. Monarchy of any kind has no place whatsoever in today's modern democratic era. The royal family tend to stifle political discourse, since any degree of advanced political criticism directed towards them, like what I've done here, would expose the fact that they play no critical role in a modern society. They jeopardize the supremacy of the law, by declaring themselves to be immune to prosecution, and by doing so, undermine the very concepts of justice and law and order. As we can see with Prince Andrew, royals are of the view that they are above the law that governs us all, and that we are commoners or useless food eaters, a term they are accused of using to describe the majority of the world's population.
A point on the environmental movement in general, a question for any of the environmentalists, so-called, in the panel there. Prince Philip was one of the key founders of the Green Movement. He said that if he were to be reincarnated, he'd want to be reincarnated into a deadly virus to solve the overpopulation problem. Well, the point is that the Green Movement was founded by those in the eugenics movement. This is Hitler, Nazi, race science, and this will destroy Africa. Can anyone make a comment?
They encourage classism, elitism, and the false idea that some people are born superior to others. They use their official positions to unjustly accumulate personal gain, by engaging in insider trading, and the misuse of intelligence reports. They deny the best minds of the ability to govern Britain, since they monopolize the position of head of state, and do not allow the people to elect those they think are the best individuals to hold such a position. Since the British monarch also occupies the position of head of state of Jamaica, it can be said that they also denied Jamaicans of the freedom to elect the best individual available for the job of head of state. They engender racist views that undo centuries of human progress. They also inspire the British population to not overcome their racial biases, and align their opinions on race with the standard of modern society. This has affected Britain's diplomatic potential, as many former colonies increasingly pursue a policy of isolationism towards Britain. They are members of the occult, and their moral understandings are jeopardized by their occult lessons on the need for hierarchy, and the right of an elite group to rule the masses. This is contrary to our modern democratic values, which reinforce the people's right to be free and independent, and not to be ruled over by a parasitic elite. Number 9. They hoard wealth while a quarter of the world's population starve. The British royal family is known to have amassed vast amounts of wealth from both the slave trade with Africa, and the drug trade with China.
They are believed to be worth an estimated £17 trillion.
And although that estimate seems inconceivable, just remember that the British royal family owns around 300 residences, from palaces to mansions. They own the crown jewels, solid gold thrones, a solid gold carriage, prized racehorses, a fleet of Bentleys and Rolls-Royces, and even the largest collection of gold bullion, which is held in their underground vaults. Although I'm unable to confirm that they are trillionaires, there is no doubt that they have hoarded more wealth than those who are featured in Forbes magazine. So, while Britain has thousands of homeless people, and millions of people die of starvation around the world every day, the British royal family has no problem hoarding all that wealth, while denying black people's reasonable request for reparations. The moral standard outlined by the most widely recognized moral authority is that wealth should be shared with the most vulnerable in our society. And so, it's rather greedy, immoral, and unbecoming of leaders of a nation to hoard and consume such a vast wealth, while ignoring the suffering of millions of human lives. Are we, the people of the world, expected to embrace an extremely rich, yet selfish family who is never required to get a job, and who contribute absolutely nothing to society? While the royal family enjoys such privilege over our scientists and inventors, it's important to note that no member of the British royal family has ever invented anything. They have never held an occupation, and their only achievements are phony charities and fabricated autobiographies written by ghostwriters. Under the capitalist system, it is presumed that wealth gravitates to the wisest, most ingenious, and most hard-working members of society. And so, it's difficult to accept that these parasitic royals are allowed to consume such vast wealth without any contribution to show for it. How can the average British citizen be expected to work hard for wealth, while their royal family lives off of ill-gotten inheritance and taxation of the people? A significant portion of the wealth of the British royal family was derived from the exploitation of Africa, and to this day, there are African art in British museums worth billions of dollars, but black people are not allowed to claim them. Number 10. They exploited Jamaica, left us high and dry, and still occupy the position of head of state of Jamaica. The British royal family might be willing to spend heavily on Jamaica now, but that is only because members of our society are pursuing the removal of the British monarch from the position of head of state of Jamaica, and achieving real independence. The delay in removing the British monarch from the position of head of state of Jamaica is done to keep us in the neo-colonial Commonwealth system, and by doing so, the British are better positioned to influence Jamaica's domestic politics. An example of the British royal family manipulating Jamaican politics is their decision to draft the Prime Minister of Jamaica into the King's Privy Council. Taking into consideration that Jamaica is on a path towards complete independence, this is no doubt a disregard of our sovereign ambitions, and a way to undermine our independence struggle. 61 years after our Declaration of Independence, the British royal family still seek to undermine our independence, our freedom, and our racial unity, by influencing public opinion, and attempting to control the major political figures and policymakers in Jamaica. If we are truly independent, then we should seek to remove the Governor-General, who is a colonial figurehead that performs no practical duty in politics, and is paid millions of our tax dollars a year, to represent the British monarch's illegitimate authority in Jamaica. We should also seek to liberate our financial system from British control, by printing our own currency in Jamaica, and not in England at De La Rue and Company, as is still the case. There is no way that we can be classified as an independent nation, when the British-controlled Governor-General is the head of the army, and the British firm De La Rue and Company controls our currency supply. The people of the world must emancipate themselves from political customs and traditions, and see the British royal family for what it truly is, an outdated relic of Europe's feudal past, with no functional ability to govern the complex affairs of a modern nation. The concerns that we have with the royal family operating as parasites, is surprisingly shared by many people in England, who see the royal family as a burden and a counter-progressive force that is holding back England's complete modernization. Therefore, what is left is for us to unite, and start to question whether the British royal family is the best option for modern political governance in the 21st century. The only person with a legitimate claim to royalty is King Jesus, who taught us to be compassionate and care for the vulnerable members of the human race. So, disregard all forms of power, because leaders should only possess authority, and such an authority is only legitimate in so much as it serves the cause of advancing human progress. The people of the world were not created to serve an elite. And that is why the British royal family has attracted the label of royal parasites. I hope that you enjoyed this informative presentation. People of the world unite.